Welcome to the Kevin Clancy Show. I've been in this game over a decade, and I knew I needed a place where I could run wild on my own solo podcast, where I tell personal stories, I deep dive into conspiracy theories, we rip through the current events of the day, and we do sit-down conversations with the most interesting people on the internet. Make sure you click subscribe so you don't miss an episode. What's up, you mutts? It's another episode of the Kevin Clancy Show, this time coming to you live back in the main studio here at Barstool HQ. So this is how we're going to do the podcast from now on. It'll be the same thing for you guys listening at home, except we'll be doing it live so we can take calls. And I got my man Za back behind the glass once again. The reunion of all reunions. Got Nikki Hammer back there, too, learning the ones and twos. There's my guy. For anybody who listened to CCK, you know Za used to run things for us, so he's back there for us. So, like I said, pretty much the same, but we will be able to do call-ins. If you are a YouTube subscriber on the KFC Radio channel, we'll have your chat up alongside. So if you want to leave some comments, ask some questions, we can do that. Although I don't think I'm going to be able to read that, so you guys will have to throw the questions to me. I come to you live on Ash Wednesday, where I remind you that if you walk around with dirt and soot smeared on your forehead, you are an asshole. I remind you that if you think you need to put your religion on display with fucking dirt from side to side of your head, you're a dumb dickhead. I thought that Corona killed Ash Wednesday. I guess it's back. I thought that might have been one like major casualty of Corona that was never going to return. When everybody was like, "Oh, the handshake is dead." Like, yeah, okay. A year later, everyone's back to shaking and hugging and kissing and shit. But Ash Wednesday was one thing where I was like, I don't know, maybe this just won't come back because people will realize you don't need to parade around like Tony Reale, shout out to my guy, with the soot all over your face. But I just got a text from Captain Cons. He said, back and going strong. So that's pretty much like argument open and shut, right? Captain Cons does it. Pretty much in this world, you don't want to do anything that Captain Cons does. You don't want to look like him, dress like him, act like him, behave like him, do anything he does. So if he's in line getting dirt smeared on his forehead to be like, look at me, I'm such a good Christian, then you shouldn't too. I mean, really, it's just the biggest look at me move. And out of all of the dumb look at me moves in religion, the ashes is top-notch number one. I remember like 5 years ago at the old office, I took a black magic marker and drew like a huge, it looked like a Batman logo on my entire forehead. And people just thought it was regular. They were just like, oh, look at that. People were looking at me that day and they were like, you got your ashes? I was like, no, I didn't get my ashes. I colored my forehead black. A couple more strokes and I would have been getting canceled for blackface. No, I didn't just get my ashes. The fact that anybody thought that was just like a regular old religious thing, like that is insane that anybody for 1 second thought that was just like something I did that day. No, I was making fun of you assholes. I can't imagine there's anybody except for Captain Cons, like under the age of like 40, that doesn't do it just strictly because like some old Catholic family member just drilled it into you. That's how these things work. Like I had to go to church because my grandma, my mom had to go to church because of my grandma, and I had to go to church because of my mom and because of my grandma. Once my grandma kicked the bucket, my mom was kind of like, all right, we only got to go during Christmas and Easter. The rest of the time, like, fuck off. Now, when she kicks the bucket eventually, I'm going to be like, I don't know. You don't have to do any of this shit, kids. My kids are in Catholic school right now. I don't even know if they know who God is or what's going on with that shit. All I know is I guess I got to raise them like somewhat religious so that I don't know. Za, you religious, Za?
My religion is be a good person. That's my religion.
Easy peasy, bro.
My mom and them. So when I was young, I was forced to go to church and all that because both my grandparents on both sides were very much into it.
That's the thing. And then the grandparent, you just have to do it to make them happy.
There you go.
Yes.
As soon as they died, I stopped going to church like in 2001.
Yeah, you're just
2001.
like fucking done with
it.
it. The only thing I can say I like tangibly taught Shay,
Yeah.
is if I ask her, if I go up to her and I say, "What's the number one rule?" She says, "Be nice to all people."
There you go.
And I'm like, all right, I think we're good with the whole like, you know. And then if I ask Keegan that, he goes like, "What? Huh?" It's like, "Where's my iPad?"
My man, Keegs.
He's gonna be something, man. He is a trip, that little one.
Oh God.
So yeah, Ash Wednesday, you're an absolute clown. Just wrapped up banging out today's word for Wordle. Let me tell you something. Wordle has been hornier than a motherfucker this week. So if you're struggling with your words, if you're not winning Wordle this week, it means you're a fucking prude, okay? If you can't get Wordle words this week, that means your sex game is whack. Because I'm out here just banging these out like, oh, okay, choke, yeah, no problem. Let's do that one. Today's one, I saw someone say Rocco Siffredi would easily get Wordle today. So you got to get yourself like fluffed up before you play Wordle if you're struggling. I read today, this stat is fucking incredible. Let me get it exactly, the exact wording right, because this shit is staggering. The guy who invented Wordle, Josh Wardell, he sold Wordle for, they said, low seven figures. I think I originally read it was like 1.2 million or something like that, like low 1 million.
That was to the Times, right?
What's that?
That was to the New York Times, right?
To the Times. Now listen to this. The guy who invented Wordle said that the New York Times, the low seven figures, in the first 24 hours that the company integrated Wordle into its website, visits to the page were equal to the total monthly audience of the entire New York Times site. A whole month for the entire website of arguably, politics aside, the biggest, most prominent news publication in the world. And they had their month's audience in one fucking day because of the little crossword word puzzle game. That is nuts. And that dude has got to be kicking his own ass. And, like, listen, you make a game for him, I'm imagining he's like some coding nerd. He probably made that shit in like 10 minutes. He made it for his family during coronavirus, during the pandemic, just have something to do and relate, right? So I'm sure he's like, bro, I fucked around on my computer for 10 minutes. I turned it into $1 million. Awesome, dude. That's the American dream. Snake it till you make it, right? But when you find out that this website has, New York Times monthly unique visitors in a day, I think you could have parlayed it into a little bit more than that. What up, Clem? Yo, shout out to Clem. Can we pull this up? I'll talk a little more about Wordle, but pull up Clem's review of the new Batman. The best movie review maybe of all time. We'll pull that up in a second. But, man, what that guy could have done with Wordle, like, if he just, I know the average person doesn't know how to like sell advertising or flip a website to make money, but if you just put a little banner ad at the top, if you just had some white space and people could put their logos up, if you every now and then sold a word, could you imagine if every now and then a Wordle word was actually an advertisement? We'll get back to that in a second. This is my man Clem. Shout out to My Mom's Basement and Robbie Fox. They are the best in the game when it comes to breaking down comic books and comic book movies and all things nerd pop culture. So Dikembe Mutombo was able to go see the Batman last night. I don't know, was that like did he get like advanced passes or it just was out in the theater near him?
Yes, I'm not sure. My roommate's trying to see it this weekend.
Yeah, because I know the official release is the 4th.
No, yeah, it's how they slowly have been pushing it farther and farther earlier.
So he just got like out in the boondocks.
Now they just do it on Wednesday. I saw a bunch of people went yesterday.
Oh, okay, cool. So wherever Clem lives, north of the wall, he's up in like Nova Scotia. He was able to go see the Batman, and this was his review. Let it rip.
The Batman, instant reaction from your pal Clem. It was all right. It was okay. Didn't love it. Didn't hate it. It was good. New series, new franchise, I guess. I got a free comic book out of it. That was pretty cool. Talking like this is the fucking worst. I don't know how Batman has to do it all the time. Felt like didn't need to be 3 hours. Make it 2. Put all the good shit in.
This is the real shit right here.
I'm not just saying that because I'm old. I was awake the whole time. I swear I didn't even come close to going to sleep.
I mean, Clem, he's been doing the 15-second chip reviews, and we did Snacking Off together. But the Batman voice for like a minute and a half, go watch it on his Twitter at the Clem Report. You can watch the full thing. But I was a little surprised to hear that it's a so rating for the Batman, because I thought I read somewhere that people were like, this has the chance to like be the best ever, including the Christian Bale ones, which. I mean, obviously, that is, like...
Better than the Heath Ledger one?
Yeah, well, that's what... I mean, it was somebody saying, like, this has potential. Not that they saw it, but I don't know. I don't think... I mean, we never... I don't know. You never thought Heath Ledger was going to be the greatest Joker of all time. I don't think people ever saw Christian Bale turning Batman into what he did. So you never know until you see it. But that first initial reaction... Also, Clem... Me and Clem... are like the same exact humans. Me, Robbie, and Clem are like the three guys on Nintendo Ice Hockey. I'm dating myself, but if you played the original Ice Hockey on Nintendo back in the day, there was like the regular guy, the skinny guy, and then the big guy. That's me, Robbie, and Clem, all cut from the same cloth, even though different generations, different people, we all pretty much like grew up the same way, listening to the same stuff, watching the same stuff. So when Clem doesn't like something, I usually don't even have to check it out myself. Whether it's music, TV, movies, whatever. When Clem says something, I'm just like, okay, that's my opinion too, because I know it's going to be the same. I don't know what it is. I think it's just like we're white kids who grew up relatively in like the suburbs of Westchester who liked rap and basketball, and like we just seem to have like the exact same opinions on everything. So if Clem says the 3 hours is too long, your boy is not even going to come close. Like, I can't stand movies that are over 2 hours. I think every movie should be 2 hours, maybe 2.5 if you've got something epic to tell. But, like, Batman, we've seen Batman 100 times before. So we know his parents are going to die, and we know the origin story, and I'm sure it's going to have its tweaks and stuff. But I don't think we need to run it back every last detail and make this shit 3 fucking hours, dude. But Pattinson's supposed to be all broody, and it's supposed to be like a dark... That was another part. At one point, Clem goes, the movie's dark. I mean that literally. At times, it was hard to see things on the screen. But again, that's not because I'm old. Awful Batman voice from Clem. Really hot, top-notch stuff from your boy. Anyway, back to Wordle. If I sold that shit for $1 million, and then, after taxes, you're going to, however that works, you're walking away with like $600-700 grand, and then you find out the New York Times is, they're up like 3,000% on their traffic. It's preposterous, man. That could have been tens of millions of dollars probably for what we're talking about here. You put in a little advertising, you put in a banner, here's what I thought. Here's what I would do. I would either have when the boxes first appear, I would have it like a little mosaic of a advertising logo. So like for instance, if Barstool bought advertising on Wordle, the stools and stars would be in the grid, and then as you guess words, like they flip over and the logo disappears. But initially, you get like your logo on the screen for however long it's up there while people are guessing. That would be valuable as fuck. Also, if you could charge for what the word says, like I don't know, if you're fucking if you're Arby's and you do meats or some shit. Like, you could do a million different things and make a boatload of cash, but I'm sure this dude is just happy to be like, whatever, man. I fucked around on the computer for a little bit, and I made $1 million off of it, so I'm not going to cry. But, man, you left a lot of money on the table, dog. A lot. I also saw this clip. If you guys could maybe pull this up for me as well. I love having live back where I can just have you guys do my dirty work for me. It's been floating around. I think the last person I saw tweet it was that nerd Darren Ravel. This clip, speaking of leaving money on the table, from Wheel of Fortune, is one of the all-time worst Wheel of Fortune performances you will ever see in your life. Look at this. Look at this right here. So it's another feather in your... Before you play it, everybody back there, another feather in your what? Do you know it, Zach?
Another feather in your...
Cap, right? Everybody knows that. That's like a phrase that like everybody pretty much fucking knows, right? This video is like 2.5 minutes long. Do you know how long Do you know how many wrong guesses you can get in 2 full minutes? Roll some of this clip and watch these motherfuckers just dying on Wheel of Fortune. It's the most embarrassing thing in the world.
Okay.
Another feather in your hat.
Like, okay, not the worst. You know, you're pretty dumb, but okay. A feather in your hat, feather in your cap, not the end of the world. Next guy
I mean, the
comes.
T and the H are already there.
Well, and that's why it's stupid.
There's like 4 letters missing.
This guy guesses G. What was that going to be? Another feather in your bag? Okay, idiot. Next guy up, this poor bastard just hits bankrupt. So you're like, oh, he's not an idiot. He just got unlucky. Back to this chick.
Okay.
Another feather in your lap.
No!
Oh, the feather is moving around.
Now, at this point, you're thinking, wow, this chick went 0 for 2. That's got to be the most embarrassing thing, right? You look down at the video, and you realize we've got another, like, minute and a half to go. So I don't know what D was going to be. Another feather in your dad? No. This poor bastard just wants to give an answer, and he keeps spinning wrong. Now it goes back to this girl.
Go ahead and spin if you don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and spin.
Don't get buzzed out.
She's like, I have no idea what to do at this point. You think she's going to have to stumble upon something, right?
What letter would you like?
A P.
Now we've got the P. Here we go. This is the one.
Spin or solve.
I will solve.
Okay.
Another feather in your map.
Map! Another feather in your map! At this point, Pat Sajak wants to be like, no, bitch. No. You dumb motherfucker.
Oh, my goodness.
Bankrupt. I mean, it's unfathomable.
I don't know. You want to spin?
I'll spin.
And he's spinning. And he finally gets it on this one. Thank the goddamn Lord.
A C.
Yeah. So here's my thing. Out of all of the embarrassing things that can happen on game shows, let's rank the worst things that can happen, most embarrassing things that can happen in a game show. I would say, let's do like a bronze, silver, gold. Okay? I would go bronze. What's a good third one? The first thing that popped into my head is the people who get the first question wrong on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That is amazing because it's always a layup and they go like right away. They're like, C, United States, final answer. And Reed just has to be like, no, dude, you're going home, you dumbass. Like that, those are some of the best all-time clips. If I could watch a compilation of people getting things wrong on the first try in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, it's absolutely, it is absolutely, oh, here's a good second one. So I would say that's bronze. I would say second is when there's a sports category in Jeopardy. And they actually ask sports questions. I hate when Jeopardy has a sports category and you're like, oh, great, MLB baseball. Like, I'm going to kill this one, right? And then the question's like, this Secretary of State in 1962 liked the Yankees. It's like, well, that's not a fucking baseball question, dude. Come on with that shit. But when they ask honest, real sports questions and the whole panel goes 0 for 5. But this right here, when you're stuck in Wheel of Fortune and there's like no letters left and it's on you to just give a common phrase, I would rather die on the spot. And the fact that it came around to her 3 times, like if you get it wrong once, that's super embarrassing because there was only 2 letters missing. The fact that it makes it all the way back to you, that girl's got to be thinking like, okay, well, I got a second chance. You get it wrong a second time, and you're thinking, I want to just put a bullet in my head. The fact that it comes around a 3rd time to you is like, you remember when you were in school, if we were doing, did you guys do like popcorn reading? Did you call it that?
The hell is that?
You did that? Yeah, this is some white people shit. So Zah, did you ever do something in school where we're all reading the same book? And I'd read like a few lines, and then and then the next person picks up. So what we would do, we would say,
"Oh, you call it popcorn."
We go popcorn za, and that means it's your turn to go.
Gotcha.
It's just some dumb white people shit, right?
Gotcha.
But when like you knew that like it was gonna come your way, or sometimes we would do it like, you know, down the rows or across the aisles, and knowing that the words were coming to you, and like you couldn't read the words, or you couldn't, you would read ahead from where they were to make sure you knew the next line's coming up. When you know that death is coming your way and you can't stop it on Wheel of Fortune, and that motherfucker Pat Sajak, you know what, Pat Sajak, I gotta tip my cap to him, because he is the ultimate snake. He probably makes like $50 million a year sitting up there basically just reading the alphabet, hanging out with Vanna White's hot ass. She's doing the work, spinning the letters, and he just sits there and says yes or no to letters. It's the easiest gig in the world, but fuck that guy and his smug bullshit when someone's struggling. Like, throw him a lifeline, give him some bedmide manner. Oh yeah, Devin, talk about hot heat fire on the sweatshirt right here. This is the first ever collab between Foreplay and KFC Radio Moonman. So if you are a Foreplay fan, shout out to Frankie, Trent, Lurch, and Riggs, you know that more often than not they end up talking about space and you know, the galaxy just about as much as they talk about golf. They recently had, or next week I think they have an interview airing with an astronaut. I hope I'm not spoiling it. I'm pretty sure that's out there. So we've been working on this collab for a little while, so it will be out next week. It's an official Moonman Foreplay collaboration. So shout out to everyone in the chat who is liking it. There's two versions. There's this one, and then there's another one. Yeah, if you can click over to the other one there, it's that one's dope too. It's more black and orange. This one is navy and green. So two very, very cool crew necks that will be on sale next week. So shout out to the idiots from Wheel of Fortune. Just one of the worst things that can happen to you. Also got to touch upon Euphoria. Basically, what I'm envisioning this show, because it's live, I feel like I can kind of rattle through more of the current events and topics of the day. So this is almost like 1 Minute Man in podcast form. If you're a fan of 1 Minute Man, this is, you know, more of a long form where I'm not confined to 60 seconds. I mean, you know, your boy likes to talk. And let me tell you something. Trying to trim down my opinions to just 60 seconds is not easy. So you come on over here to the Kevin Clancy Show where we can kind of expand upon things. The fact that Kevin can talk and talk and talk about random stuff for hours is extremely impressive. That's what I do, dude. People ask me, like, what's your talent? We have an ATI question that was like, if there was a Barstool, this is a good question. If there was a Barstool beauty pageant, what would your talent be? Because a lot of people here are very talented. You got people who are, you know, trying their hand at stand-up comedy. You got people who can do impressions. You got people who can sing. You got people who can do, you know, Feidelberg can puke. There's a lot of people with a lot of extremely talented things. But I don't have that. But the only thing that I think I can do more so than others is fill dead air. If you just need someone to fucking talk, you got it right here. And so, you know, and it's because I've been doing it so long. I remember the very, very first episode of Mail Time. If you've been riding with me for, you know, over 10 years now, we started KFC Radio, and that was the call-in show, where I opened up the Google Voice line. That was what launched everything. Super producer BC, my brother, came to me and said, "You got to do a podcast." I was like, "I don't know what to do. I don't have a partner. We can't do calls. You know, I can't do it yet." Like months later, he comes back and says Google Voice is now a thing where you can basically have an answering machine through Google. And I was like, all right, that's it. Let's go. Because now we can play these calls as if they were live, but they're pre-recorded. We can screen through and pick out the good ones. So that started KFC Radio, and that became that. It was like, we're going to just do these callers and hypothetical questions and ridiculous banter and debate. So once that started, I was like, I want to do a more traditional podcast where it's just, you know, segments and conversation and long-form talking. So I started Mail Time, and I did a test run episode. And at this point in time, podcasts, and still mostly today, but at this point in time, certainly, podcasts were 1 hour long. That was like the thing. It was an hour. And so I press record, and I go, and I rattle through all my topics. Get out all my thoughts, everything touched upon, press stop,
and it was 13 minutes. And I was like, oh, boy, this is not going to be easy. And then over the years, you just babble and babble and talk and talk and babble and talk and talk and babble. And next thing, now we have trouble on KFC Radio cutting things down. Now it's like episodes like 4 hours long because we got to touch upon everything, and we have like full discussions. We used to do like 20 voicemails a show because it would just be like question, answer, question, answer. Now we do like 3 because we have like 40 minutes of talk from 3 phone calls. Anyway, I'm babbling right now. I don't even know why I brought this up. Because of 1 Minute Man. So 1 Minute Man, initially we would do like, sometimes I did videos that were like 4 or 5 minutes long. I had a couple that were like 8 minutes because I wanted to get my full opinion out there. I hate putting out something that's time constrained and then having people be like, what about this and what about that? And it's like, it's not that I ignored it. It's not that I don't know that part of the story. It's that I just can't fit everything into this fucking video. Now we know, though, what performs best on Instagram are these 1 minute reels. They absolutely annihilate when it comes to views and comments and interaction. So this show here now, especially that we're doing it live, will be kind of 1 Minute Man, the podcast. So if you or people like 1 Minute Man, spread the word, because this is the long form where we can really dig into some of those topics. The latest, what's up? Okay. Yeah, we'll take calls in a little bit. If you want to call it up, it's 888-STOOL-22. I don't even know if the new generation of kids knows how to dial letters. When I did the original KFC Radio in 2012, I got calls from people being like, what do you mean Viva? Like, how do you dial numbers? And I was like, what? Even back then?
Not know how to?
Yeah, well, Dave, that's not the barometer. There's a lot of things that we can't measure against that. But for those who don't know and realize, when you open up your keypad, there are letters on the numbers you can dial with words. But to make it easier, 888-786-6522. That's 888-786-6522. Call us up in a few minutes. We'll do some live chat. But one of the topics I did for 1 Minute Man this week was about Euphoria, which has officially become the second most popular HBO show of all time. They actually said since 2004. I can't think of any other show back in the 90s and prior to 2004 that would be bigger than anything now. So I'm pretty sure that's just in all of HBO's existence. Euphoria, second of all time. I saw that headline and I'm like, well, wait, what? That means there's going to be big names left out behind Euphoria. So I'm thinking, I wasn't sure if it was going to be Thrones or Sopranos, because I figured, maybe the Sopranos finale has some crazy number. The final season has some wild numbers. But it was Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is the only show on HBO in the last 20 years that has done more viewers than Euphoria. That is impressive. That's a big. They're averaging 16.7 million viewers a week. They're prior to the finale that just aired this on Sunday, their previously highest rated show was when they went up against the Super Bowl. Their numbers went up Super Bowl Sunday. That's crazy, man. You're up against, the biggest cultural television event annually in America, and your numbers do better. This shit is it's not just the wacky drugs sex show on HBO anymore. If you look at the numbers, it's the most tweeted about show of the decade. It has 34 million tweets about it. They are averaging 16.7 million viewers. Their ratings from season 2 compared to season 1 is up over 100%. So they've doubled their numbers in just the second season. So whether you are a Euphoria fan or not, I feel like it's a bit polarizing, because I feel like there's an impression that Euphoria is like the girls' show. It's for your girlfriend to watch. So I feel like some people are out on it, whether you like it or not. The way this shit is trending, it has a chance to be the most popular HBO show of all time. It's especially knowing how Game of Thrones flopped in the end. If their viewership continues to grow and Euphoria continues to get better and doesn't have that same floppage that Thrones did, what's stopping it? as long as like Zendaya keeps up, as long as she's a part of it, and as long as, these major characters don't end up becoming like superstars who got to go do movies and they can't, film or whatever, Euphoria is going to be the most popular HBO show ever. And for the Sopranos fans out there, for the Wire fans out there, how many fans of The Wire are probably like crying their eyes out at night because Euphoria is bigger than their precious little show. That is impressive. And here's the thing. I've seen season 1. I've seen a few episodes of season 2. I'm not caught up. It gives me anxiety as a 37-year-old man, like watching how much drugs they're doing, watching how much they party, and the weird sex that's going on. It fucks with my head because it's like, I know these actresses are like 25, but they're playing like juniors in high school. So you're technically watching like teenage kids fuck. Or you're not technically, but like figuratively you are. And that's weird. Sydney Sweeney, super hot. Sure, want to watch her bang. Not when she's pretending to be like a 16-year-old. It's fucking strange. So I get weirded out by it, but that's not to say the show itself, the way it's made, the way it's shot, the music, the angles, the drama, the acting, like the acting is second to none, man. It's a very impressive show. You don't have to like it, but this is not like Sex in the City. I'm willing to bet that it's, that the audience is skewed female, but that doesn't mean that this is some like, fluff like romance show or some, like I said, Sex in the City type shit. It is a real deal dark drama that tackles like addiction and sex and family issues and divorce and violence and drugs, like heavy shit. So I don't know. I do believe at this point, Zendaya said they're going to take a long break. The problem is Zendaya is going to go be like, I got to go do Dune. I got to go do Spider-Man. I got to do this. I got to do that. So like there's going to be like issues on that front. But as long as they keep like the team together, Euphoria was probably going to be the GOAT in terms of, viewers and exposure and all that kind of shit. Also, before we get into calls, and I'll open it up, you can call up about any of the topics we're talking about or ask anything you want. Have you seen the new footage, the new released footage of 9/11?
Yeah, the guy that shot it like off a phone from that angle was
crazy,
unreal,
dude.
bro.
And the fact that it was 20 years later.
Yeah.
And so
was he just like sitting on that?
Let's talk about it because there's some conspiracy theories floating around on it. If you check out the internet right now, for the first time in 20 years, this new angle of the planes hitting the towers has been released, which in and of itself is bizarre because it's like, where was it this whole time? Like, why would you not release this? And so it's been posted to a YouTube channel, and the title is 9/11 Kevin's Video. And it's like an 11-minute video, I think. Yeah, 8-minute video. It's after the first plane has hit. So you see like the smoke coming out, and there are people gathered. I think he's on a ferry, maybe. I think he's like on the river.
That's what I was trying to figure out where he's at.
I think so, yeah. I think he's on the ferry or like next to the river. Yeah.
Staten Island Ferry, maybe?
Does that make sense? I can't tell if they're on the east side or the west side, but one of the ferries. And so it's people kind of reacting like, what the fuck? And then a couple minutes in, you see the second plane come flying in, and obviously people like freak out. So it just says 9/11 Kevin's Video, and it's from this guy Kevin Wesley, who has 2.5 thousand subscribers, 2.5 thousand subscribers. And he has 9 videos on his channel. It's weird. The channel's weird. It's like he's got some like old wartime footage. He's got what looks like footage of like him and his wife, I think, or a girl. And so people are kind of like, what the fuck is this? And why the fuck does it come out 20 years after the fact? So people do some digging. And this guy, Kevin, if you look at his LinkedIn, and like I guess you have to, there could be other Kevin Westleys, so who knows? But judging by the internet, we know if something's on the internet, it's has to be true. He has some very interesting jobs. So in 2009, he was the deputy director of engineering for the nuclear systems wing of the U.S. Air Force. In 2011, he was the chief integrator for the B-61 nuclear bomb, responsible for delivering the capability to warfighter by integrating $6 billion Department of Energy and Department of Defense nuclear weapon program. And then in 2012, 2014, he was the UK Ministry of Defense. So he's got these jobs that are like high clearance shit, doing nuclear weapons, working for the Air Force, Ministry of Defense. But apparently he also just has a YouTube channel with a couple thousand subscribers where he just posts like these random videos, including 20 years after the fact, one of the clearest, most like best like quality raw footage of 9/11 ever. What the fuck is that about? And then it got real deep with the tinfoil. Then we went real conspiracy theory on him. At the very end of the video, there's the footage of the plane. Then there's some other shots of New York City. It's just kind of like just around the city. And they start playing God Bless America. And people in the comments said, God Bless America was written and created, but didn't come out until 20 years after the fact when World War I was about to start. It was either World War I or World War II. And now people are linking that, being like, well, this video is 20 years after the fact, and we're on the brink of another world war from this guy who had nuclear, working at the nuclear department of the Air Force. So I don't know what, obviously that's
I love the internet.
I know. Obviously that's much more coincidence than anything, but it's still just because here's my thing. Either A, that's a fake account that someone made up and they have access to this footage, which is kind of weird and concerning, or it's just a old boomer who like has this footage and like why would like a however old guy, let's say 60-year-old guy, just start a YouTube? That'd be like if my dad just had like Tim Clancy as his fucking YouTube page and was posting a couple things and then posted 9/11 footage 2 decades later. So either someone's making it up, or I don't know what's crazier or more concerning, if someone was making it up or if it was just like, no, yeah, I filmed this. I guess you could say maybe he thought he lost it. Maybe somebody had this, they died, and somebody inherited it, or maybe somebody bought a house and sold their house and we're cleaning it out. There's a few ways you can stumble upon, old shit like this. My dream was to always have one of my grandparents fucking kick the bucket and die, and then I go find like a $10 million baseball card collection in their attic. Those people, when I see those stories of people being like, I made $5 million because Grandpa had a Babe Ruth card, I'm like, oh, fuck you, man. My two dreams are to have somebody die and I find some cool shit in their attic, or I get hit by some of that ice from falling buildings in New York City. Not enough to die, but just enough to like maim me, where I kind of like, maybe just get like a like sliced off my arm. The footage this year of ice falling is it's always kind of a thing in New York City. If you don't live here, you probably don't realize it or know it, but it's an issue where chunks of ice fall off of these skyscraper high rises, and you're right below it on the sidewalk. But there was one. Do you have that clip, Nick? Do you know who tweeted that out?
Yeah, we're pulling it up.
Okay, there's one this year, because a lot of them fall off and they kind of like flutter. Even though it's ice, it's falling from such a high spot, I guess it kind of flips around and it's not very aerodynamic. This one video is like a fucking missile, like a spear just falling from, a 100-story building. And this woman is inches away from this thing smashing her directly on top of her head. The guys back there are pulling it up. It's something like that. not my dream. That's something where you die instantly and you get maimed. Here we go. Wait for the replay. You'll see it again because she just kind of runs away. You see a bunch of people like staring. But watch this right here as it replays. Woof! Woo, buddy! Look at that one, man. Let it run one more time here. Look at this. Woof! Oh, my God. That is the luckiest woman alive. That was literally inches from absolutely decimating her. This actually almost happened to me once. I was leaving McSorley's Ale House way back in the day. I was probably in high school still. I was probably maybe like a senior in high school. I'm leaving McSorley's, and so I'm down on that area, like St. Mark's type area, and a fucking brick, like not even a brick. It was kind of like a round piece of a building. It wasn't like a squared off brick or like a cinder block or anything that was like, defined. It was just like a hunk of the building fell off and landed like just as close as that did to that chick. And I just kind of wish it like hit my shoulder. Obviously it hits you in the brain, you're fucking dunzo. But man, if a giant rock fell from the sky and smashed my shoulder on the sidewalk, I'm paid, bro. I'm set for life. And I'm not talking Wordle money, $1.2 million. I'm suing the city for like $15 million if that happens to me. All right, let's get to a couple calls here. We'll start it off. If you want to call us, what we got an ad for the line? Phone calls today are brought to you by Freshly. Freshly is my shit because there's a lot of these meal prep companies and they make it easy for you. They don't make it as easy as Freshly. Okay, Freshly is for the true lazy man because you don't even have to cook. A lot of the other ones, like, we make it easy for you to cook dinner. Freshly's like, we make it easy for you to open up dinner because that's all you got to do when it comes to Freshly. It doesn't have to be cooked. It doesn't need to be prepped at the end of the long day. You just open it up, heat it up, and you are good to go. It's for the people like myself. I've got 2 kids. I've got long hours. I'm running around. I don't ever have time to go shopping. I don't ever have time to do the cooking. I don't ever want to do the dishes afterwards. When you cook for like one fucking person, there's like 1,000 dishes. I got the pan that I cooked this in. I got the pot that I cooked this in. I got the plates. I got the silverware. I got the cups. I got to clean it all up. It's filling up in my sink, and it's all for one fucking person for one goddamn meal. I hate all that. Freshly takes out all of that fuss, no cooking required, and you get delicious, chef-made, nutrient-packed meals that come right to your door. They have nutritionists designing it. They have all sorts of different types of food, different menu, different allergies, different diets, whatever you have. Freshly has something for you. And we're talking good shit, steak peppercorn, mac and cheese, and they have new meals added every week. So don't stress about dinner. Freshly is now offering $40 off your first 2 orders when you go to Freshly, Freshly, freshly.com/Clancy, CLANCY, and get $40 off your first couple orders. Let's go to the calls. We've got Brooklyn advice on quitting his job. Let's start with you, Jack. Air 1, you said, or Air 2? Air 1. Jack, he wants to get some advice about quitting his job. What's up, Jack?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me and everything?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Hey, great to be calling in. Yeah, so check it out. This is my last week of work after about 5 years at the company. I'm sure you can appreciate, shout out the Cube days, shout out the For Sure Not days, how good, that feeling is.
Yup. I mean, I remember, it's funny because at this point, I'm 15 years into this shit, still continuing to, bring up my days in the Cube. It's obviously getting silly because I've worked outside of the Cube way more than inside the Cube. Yeah. But it's sort of one of those things like it's like having gone to prison. You know what I mean? Like if someone did 5 years in jail, like 25 years after the fact, you wouldn't be like, yeah, but that was a long time ago, dude. It's like, no, man, I still was in prison I did a 5-year bid, man. So I know what it's like. So even if you get a long enough taste of it, you know how much it can suck, and that sticks with you. And I do. Good.
There was a question there for you. So look, as I come up on like the second half of this last week, I mean, I'm just going, I work from home, office job, but remote. I'm going full psycho mode. I'm just ripping the bong all day, every day. But, is this look, Wednesday, am I done taking all new requests just as I get ready to turn in the laptop on Friday, or how am I riding out these last 72 hours or so?
What exactly is like your type of job?
I work in advertising, just in like a
fuck
regular
it.
office job, but
Yeah, fuck
obviously
that,
remote with COVID.
Yeah, no. You're not doing any new shit. If you were working some sort of job that's like life and death or something where you'd really be fucking people over by just mailing it in, no. You're talking about, some new advertising bullshit. That's like, yeah, let me get back to you and just keep pushing it. Yeah. Oh, I'll email you tomorrow morning. I'll have that to you by end of day. Oh, actually, I need to loop this person in, whatever. And next thing you know, it's Friday and you're fucking, that's on to the next one. I famously, if you've been listening for a while, I physically hid all my work at the end. What I did at Deloitte was like the final product was this big manila folder where we printed out all of our Excel work and all of these legal documents, and you would have this big rubber banded together manila folder that you present. And I was stuffing them into gigantic filing cabinets. So when people came by my desk at the end, they were like, "Oh, look, it looks good. You tied up all your issues." And I left, and then, I'm sure a couple days later somebody stumbled upon endless amounts of work that I left for them because you know why? Because someone else would have done that to me. Because I was the sucker who picked up the slack from the other people who quit or got fired. So this is the fucking way it goes. If I'm you, I would do here's
the
what
bare minimum.
Yeah, I would do the bare minimum. I would look out for anybody who you might be cool with. Like I wouldn't fuck over like a close friend, coworker. And also, I will say this: if you are you going to still work in like the industry?
Yes.
So you don't careers are a long time, man, and you don't want to
burn any bridges.
Yeah, you don't want to burn any bridges. Appreciate the call, man. You don't want to burn any bridges. How do I hang up? What do I press?
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
The red button on the far left.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, you got it, Jack. If there's one thing I learned, man, especially once you try to comprehend how long your career can be. If your career is 40 fucking years, you're gonna run into people again. You're gonna all of a sudden that person that you fucked over your last week of work is your new boss 5-10 years from now, and next thing you know he hates you and doesn't give you anything because you were a dickhead that last week. So don't burn any bridges. Boy, this font is so fucking small. Let's go to Adam. Talking about warm-up porn? Fill me in on what warm-up porn is, Adam.
What's up, KFC, Nick, Za? Come on, you Gunners. I think I saw Paz back there. So, first time, long time. Basically, warm-up porn is, you get yourself, you're all ready. You get, you pull up Pornhub, whatever. And warm-up porn is just like your starter video. It's your shoot-around. It's the video. It's not going to get you there, but it's enough to get you going. It's the shoot-around. Gets the blood flowing.
It's gross. You know what it is? It's like what they say in working out. It's when you want to work up a lather. The thought of working up a lather in your dick is very disgusting. Now, what would be like? What's an example of your warm up versus your so? And what do you call your main shit? By the way, let me interrupt real quick. I'm back to finally having Ebony shake her tits through the glass. Something I miss dearly being in my studio when Ebony shakes her tits in a circle. It's a fun party trick. Those things do a full 360. What's your warm up porn versus your finale porn?
Your warm up porn versus your finale porn. That's a good question. Obviously, that's a sort of a game time decision sort of thing. Maybe that's like your front page of Pornhub versus your page 15 of searching Pornhub.
15, dog. You are going deep.
Oh, come on, Casey. You've been there.
I've been there. Yeah, but that's not on average. That's not on. I'm probably going no deeper than 5 on average.
Well, some of us, we last longer than page 5.
No, get the fuck out of here. Some of you were just more picky. There's no way you're jerking off steadily for 15 pages of the hub.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, you fucking liar.
Get
out of here.
It's just it could just be your amateur stuff versus your more artsy and tasteful stuff.
Well, I mean, listen, to each his own. Different strokes, literally, for different folks. Thanks for the call, Adam. I don't think I've ever thought about this, but I go right in for the kill, bro. I'm the guy, if they say that you should work up or you should work out and you should warm up before your workout, and you should stretch because you're going to pop a hammy if you just go all in 0 to 100, that's me. I'm blowing out my hamstrings every session on Pornhub because I open that thing up and I'm not going to be like, let's find some lesbians kissing first. I'm like, nope. Did that girl puke? Yeah. Let's go there right a fucking way. Fuck a warm up. We're all just here. It's all just really at the end of the day, we're just trying to get a job done. Like there are certain times where you want to treat yourself. Oh, man, we were up in Boston for this event with Whistle Pig. We went to the Harpoon Brewery, and we were just kind of meeting with distributors and drinking piggybacks, and which, by the way, if you don't know, piggybacks, Whistle Pig, going to be the drink of the summer. They're whiskey cocktails in a can. Go get them if you can, piggybacks. So we went up to Boston for the night, and we did the event, and I had a hotel set up for the night, man, and the storm was coming, and we were like, we got to get out of here tonight because we're going to get stuck here in Boston if we wait till the morning. And Nick, were you there? The first thing I said when we decided we got to leave?
Yeah. You told us this is upsetting because I really wanted to jerk off in the hotel.
I said it flat out. I was so disheartened. I was like, all right, I guess I'll go get the car. This sucks, man. I want to jerk off all over that room. Because I walked in and just saw this beautiful, fresh, new hotel room that was just going to be my canvas for the night. In times like that, I could maybe understand you want to do a warm-up and a beginning, middle, and end, if you will. But I guess Nick Donald's here is doing his warm-up porns. Let me know if you're in the chat, subscribers to KFC Radio. Are you a warm-up porn kind of guy? I will bounce around. Don't get me wrong. I don't pick, I'm not one and done. But I certainly don't tailor my porn to be like, all right, this was NC-17 and this is X-rated and now we're going hardcore. To me, it's like, let's get to the good stuff and only the good stuff as many times as I can. But as I was saying, sometimes you're in a hotel room making love to yourself. For the most part, I feel like it's like getting the poison out. Talked about it for, all my life. JJO. Sometimes you just gotta jerk off. You gotta get out. I think if you have too much cum in your body, it literally poisons your brain. Makes you make bad decisions. You're not thinking clearly. You got to get it out. So it's almost like brushing your teeth. You wake up, you brush your teeth, put on deodorant, you get ready for the day. You also got to come. Warm up porn. Get out of here. Let's see what else we got. How about Sil? Is that what that says? Sil in Denver. What's up?
Yo, Kev, man, what's up?
How we doing?
I just wanted to call. I'm a longtime stoolie, and my favorite thing used to be the original rundowns with you, Dan, and Dave.
Yes, sir.
I find like nobody at the stool has the chemistry that you guys have when you're on camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate you guys bringing it back, even if it's only occasionally. I just wanted to know, was it a decision between you guys because you're embarrassed or not embarrassed, but like not happy with the way the rundown's been going? Or was it a decision from the higher-ups in sales who said, yo, guys, we got to get this flagship show going again,
No, here's what happened. It's like everything else that happens at Barstool. It happened very naturally, at least as far as I know. If there was something higher up, if Dave made the decision because of business, maybe that's the case. As far as from my point of view, we did a rundown, like an emergency rundown, when Brady retired. I think when Brady first announced, or when Schefter announced that he retired. That was kind of like, we all got to get together and talk about it. And then, like, the next week was, like, another, maybe it was when Brady had, like, unretired, and then he confirmed it. But whatever it was, there was 2 Mondays back-to-back where there was very Barstool, old-school Barstool rundown-esque type topics. So it was like, well, we got to get together for this one. And then next week it was like, well, we got to get together for this one too. And that's when Dave said, like, I'm down. He said, I'm down to do these more often if you guys are. And that's when, the idea started. Now, I also heard Dave say, I think he said it on air, on the show. I'm pretty sure he said, I'm going to try to do more rundowns. like maybe between 3 and 4 per week. And I don't know if Dave did the math, but there's only 4 total per week. So unless Dave is committing to doing almost every rundown of the week, I think that was a bit optimistic on his part. I think it's much more likely that we settle into like every Monday. And there was no like embarrassment. I think what you said is true. There's nobody that has a better trio of chemistry because we've done, probably like 1,500 of them. I mean, we've done years and years, probably even more than that, of rundowns together, and we all kind of know, you know your lane and you know your role in the rundown. I know when to let Dave rant and talk shit to me, and I know when me and Dan are gonna tag team against Dave. Like there's certain things that we know how this game works by now. So in that sense, like nobody can do it the way we do it, but I still think there's been a lot of great. There's been a lot of great results from people doing the rundown. I think like Tommy has come into his own. I think Brandon Walker is a great host. Like the people who stepped in were certainly capable, and I think became better and brought something new and all that kind of shit. The rundown was a great spot to highlight a lot of the internal drama and give the spotlight to new people. But yeah, there's nothing quite like when we get together. And I mean, these people, you guys love it when we're on the computers. It's crazy. All three of us could be in the building, and instead we're going to go to separate corners of the office with our laptops and do it that way. Yeah, people just seem to love the old school formats. So I hope it's something that we continue to do. It was something that like naturally faded when Dave started to travel and live elsewhere. And then, it was kind of like, well, if Dave's not going to be here, I guess I'll host. But then sometimes it was like, well, if the other two guys are gone, I'm not going to do it. And then naturally it just kind of faded, and that's the same way as it's returning as well. So hopefully we'll be doing but I will say this, and I don't know if people agree. Maybe the callers can weigh in, or you can leave it in the chat. I like when it's a little bit more special, if you will. Like I like when there's a topic that we really need to jump into. Like the last one we did, we were talking about like some topic. I can't even remember it now. And it was just like, yeah, okay, it was a guy on like a minor league hockey team who like scored the game-winning goal like in a shootout, and then he just skated right off the ice without doing any celebration. And Dave was like, "This is a cool video. Do you have anything to add?" And both of us were kind of like, "Yeah," and like, "No, not really." And it was like, I don't want to do the rundown for that kind of stuff. I want to do the rundown for like big topics. So if it was up to me, I think I would actually still keep it as a special thing rather than a weekly thing. But also, it probably is good for business and pays the bills and keeps fans happy. So you'll probably be seeing a decent amount of us. We got a couple Rico questions here. As always, when I'm on radio. If you're doing Barstool Radio, if you're doing live radio at Barstool Sports, you know that Rico is going to be the topic. Let's go to first. This guy's been online for half an hour. Thank you, dude. Appreciate you waiting. Joe from Delaware, what's up?
What's going on, KSC? I'm such a big fan of you. I'm wearing a Kevin Clancy show hoodie right now.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
As a skell, I just don't get it. Like Big Cat and Portnoy, love him. He's great for content. He, obviously stirs the pot. He does all these things.
It sounds like you do get it, dude. It sounds like that's it. You get it.
But that's it. Like that's all it is he's just angry. Like I don't understand how he can just continue to.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, all that is true. I mean, listen, you called up and you introduced yourself as a skell. That is a thing that Rico has created. Riders versus skells, right? He has his some things are bigger than sports shtick that everybody knows. He has his rivalries with Woj and Doug Gottlieb that everybody knows. He has done a good job of establishing his character of Rico Bosco and all that comes with it. Now, what happened, and it's a good lesson to the youngsters out there, the kids he likes to preach to so much, when you're part-time, when you're a peripheral character, it's one thing. He used to go to his regular job, and he would pop in. He would call up on the phone, maybe make an appearance, hide his face, talk some shit, yell at some skells, praised the riders, and he was out. A lot of people can come in for a day here and there and rile the gang up. When it's consistent and you're full-time, it's a different beast because it eats you up, man. The fans, the haters, the work, the pressure, it's a whole different game. So I think what happened to Rico was what once was a once-in-a-while thing all of a sudden consumed him. It's like when Walter White became Heisenberg. He couldn't fucking control it anymore when it ate him alive. It's like Venom. He put on the suit full time and he became, that weird alien. That's when he started getting angry, and that's when we had the High Noon incident. But love him or hate him, he has established a character. Now, it's up for debate whether it's a character or not. So Dave and Dan think it's not a character. I tend to believe he actually is more self-aware than most people think. But the mere fact that you're even giving this call and you know his terminology and you know his, all of that world. What Rico Bosco has done, he's a world builder. He's like, fucking James Cameron building Avatar, okay? He's J.R.R. Tolkien building Lord of the Rings. Rico has built like this Skeleverse, the Riderverse, where, he has all of these things. So, and I think the fact that he gets a lot of people riled up in a bad way is part of it.
But you don't think he's a character? No,
I do. I'm saying I do. A lot of the guys here think that he truly is that crazy. Here's what I believe. Like, the outburst with Big T was obviously real. That was a man in a blind fit of rage. I think, like, when he blocks everybody and when he does the some things are bigger than sports and when he antagonizes the Wojs and shit, I think that's much more calculated to be funny and entertaining than people give him credit for. It's a weird thing where it's like you want it to be authentic, but also you got to tip your cap to someone who can do it in a way that's authentic, but you don't know for sure. It's kind of like Marty Mush and Dana. I mean, them cooking those eggs the other day. Let's pull up that clip. People don't know. People can't tell, is that real or not? That's where you always want to live as a blogger, where it's like, was that real or was that a work? And that's where Rico lives. But Joe, whether you're a rider or a skell, you're stirring the pot for him.
Mm-hmm. So, I will say, just on one last note, that clip of Marty and Dana cooking eggs.
Incredible.
I'm a chef for a living. That drove me fucking insane.
You must have been going berserk, man. I appreciate the call because everybody who's ever cooked a single egg before knows, you got to get the pan hot. I don't know whoever taught them how to crack eggs. They just took it and like smashed it with their hands. But this was Marty and Dana in their apartment. They live together, right?
Yep.
Trying to test out one of these as seen on TV no stick pans, which are really cool. They like in the commercial where they wiggle it around and it just slides back and forth. Looks like it's all like lubed up. But both of them just absolute fucking morons when it comes to cooking these eggs, which I know for a fact had to be like 3 years old. Those were like rotten eggs, even if they did want even if they could cook them.
Their apartment smells of eggs.
Oh,
I'm there every Friday and it smells of eggs.
So you know better than anyone then, Zah. What, like, this was a video where I was viewing this as a Barstool fan, not as a coworker, because I was kind of like, is this pan working or not? And do these guys know what they're doing or not? Because at one point, at like the 2:58 mark, you hear Marty go, "Oh shit," or like, "Oh wait," because it does kind of unstick, and it took a little bit of him using the spatula. It was the perfect video because I've seen those commercials, and I expected it to just slide right off, and it didn't do that. But also at the end when they did kind of move it, it did. Yeah, right here, he's like,
"It smells like dog shit." Oh wait.
Oh wait.
I'm doing it.
He's like, "Oh wait, it did kind of work." Is that how it works? I don't know. Did it work? It's like two puppy dogs like playing with a stick and trying to figure out how it works.
I mean, the no grease thing was the thing that was infuriating.
Don't grease the pan. Don't heat up the pan. Then he pours the egg. I mean, that stovetop is like done for life. That's gonna have egg buried into that stovetop for life now. And this had a ton of people reacting in the comments, being like, "How are you two even alive? How have you survived?" But it also had people being like, "This can't look at that. See it? kind of worked.
It worked.
So, but it also had people being like, no way, this is real. This has to be fake. And I mean, we've done it. We've done this for so long now. And people have always questioned things. That's for a work. That was staged. That was scripted. And I say the same thing every time, man. If all of these things you talk about are scripted, then we are like Oscar award-winning writers.
He's even dumber off camera.
Yeah.
For anyone that's wondering.
And I ask you this:
he's even way dumb off camera.
Which one? Because that can go either fucking way. Yeah, my boy Mario here says it best. Marty and Dana doing an as seen on TV test, like those two guys being like, we're gonna do Billy Mays, we're gonna do the ShamWow guy. I mean, how about them selling those? Like being those guys, not even testing, just being the guys. Check it out. You put the fucking tape on and there's no more leak.
The home shop.
Buy it right now. Yeah, unbelievable. Let's do a couple more calls here. We're a little over an hour. Let's get to that second Rico call. My man puts asses in the seats. Eddie from Long Island. What's up?
What's going on, dude? How's everything going, man?
Good, brother. What do you got for me?
All right, so I definitely want the last call on Rico. I kind of share his point a little bit, but I agree with you. Like, if you don't see what he's created and the type of buzz that is, regardless of the crap he does, because obviously I'm blocked by him.
Obviously.
I find it comical, the stuff, like, even in the early Pick'em days, like those, if you go back and listen to those, it's some of the funniest things in the world.
Sure. And,
like,
and you know what it is? You view that correctly. You are just
100%. Because I don't like him. I don't like his attitude.
But it's like watching wrestling. It's like when you watch wrestling and it's like
100%.
I hated Triple H in the Attitude Era, but he's awesome. Like you have to, and that's what we're doing here in a way. He plays the heel and he blocks you and calls you a skell, but that's part of it. I think the people who get upset are the people who take us very seriously, are the people who maybe want to do this job, are the people who are like, he's an asshole and I should, people, there's other people out there who are more deserving. But it's like, maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Just watch it and fucking enjoy it, man.
Enjoy it. It's because it's so funny.
It's captivating too. Whether you maybe you're not even laughing, like I laugh at it, it's hilarious. But if you're mad about it, whatever, you still have emotion about it. Still, and there's Frank the Tank in the background. What's up, Frank?
Yeah, and I think what you said was dead on about him, like something happening when like he went full time. Like, holy shit, like
it's
what I really got myself into.
Yep.
And I just don't know like his personality, where he grew up from. Like, obviously, you know the type of persona he portrays, where he's from and whatnot.
Sure.
So
now he's still a Staten Island guy. He's still a lot of that is still really who he is.
Like,
but
kids pretty much that are 19 and 20 years old, like it's a whole nother world. Like
absolutely,
coming to another planet.
And it's it's almost every day.
It's funny.
It's every day that the Verrazano Bridge isn't fucking backed up. Otherwise, he's there every day.
That was hilarious. My other thing is Iceman.
Iceman.
$1 million bonuses from Barstool for life, bro.
Shout out to the Iceman.
It's like Barstool's not live in New York, so I have to use the other one. I won't say it, but yeah, but like it's insane.
We're getting there. We're trying. Well, one day we'll be there. But I appreciate you shouting him out, Eddie. Thanks for the call, because Mr. Ice, the big bazooka, Mr. No Hedge, Elio, is one of the most electric characters in Barstool right now. And I don't think a lot of people know it yet because he's on the fringe, and I don't even know if he works here or not. I don't think he does. But he is – I just keep an eye on him on Twitter. And I'm not a gambler, so I don't quite know exactly what he's up to. But I think he's like 20-3 in his last –
20-1.
20-1 in his last 21 hockey bets. I think they're all hockey. Where the big bazooka is hitting like every single night. He's ripping his shirt off. He's got the Mr. Ice hats and the No Hedge hats. Look at this guy. He is. When people say like Barstool's changed and Barstool's different, listen, a lot of stuff, you're right. I think we've gotten better, but of course we've lost some of the old charm. This is old school Barstool. Look at this guy.
That's my motto. You see that? You see 20-1. You know what? Only at Barstool Sportsbook. Look at this. Baby.
Company man, too.
20-1. No hedge. Here I am. Every night. You want to know something? I'll tell you one thing. I'll see you tomorrow.
He is electric, man. And he works in his little girls and his family. He's got the pizza shop, ripping the shirts off. The Mr. Ice hoodies are just flat out awesome, whether you follow him or whatever. Those are just cool hoodies. You don't even need to know the story behind it. And he's just crushing the hockey world, like betting every night, hitting overs every night. Mr. Bazooka is like the prominent guy in the Barstool gambling world right now. And if you're not following him, look up his, I think it's like Elio 82. What was that number? I want to give his handle a shout out so that people.
Is Elio 82.
Elio at Elio 82. Give him a follow, especially if you are into gambling. Jump on board with those picks and ride it with him. Let's do one last question here. Kyle from New York. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, Kev, what's going on, man?
How are you, bro?
Great. Awesome to hear you on the radio, and that kind of ties into my question. With you getting back into this and Minahan essentially ending the Minahan show in 4 months, but still sticking with Barstool doing some stuff.
Is that right? Is that true?
Yeah, he said after the Wilbur show, he's taking a year off, but he said probably not going to come back after that.
Is that a new development?
Monday he announced it right off the top of the show. First, I want to say about 8 to 10 minutes in.
Huh? Is that and is that we think he's going to stick to that, or was that just something in the moment?
Well, I mean, that was kind of my B part to the question, because he does mention that you guys do talk here and there, so I'm surprised you haven't heard about that yet.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't talked to him in the last couple days, so maybe that's why. Usually, we would talk about something like that. Me and Minahan have great chemistry. I think we would have a great show because we get along well enough, but we also disagree on a lot of things. But it's always been an issue. If he was in New York, or if I was up there, I think we would do it. I can't do a show like via Skype. I can do an interview here and there on Zoom, but to do like a full show is just brutal. Anytime he's like in the building, I'd love to chop it up with him. Yeah. And if
he said he's going to do some case stuff still, he's going to still be with people, but the Minahan show as we know it is essentially dead in about 4 months.
Well, I have had conversations with him before that are kind of like, what's left to do per se? Like, sure, there'll be new topics, new stories, new developments in the world, but especially for him, he's been doing it way longer than anybody else here. Years and years and years. Especially, you started out doing sports, and you talk about sports, and like the reason I don't do much sports is like there's only so many things you can say. Like, oh, he missed the kick, or like, oh, wow, that was a bad coaching decision. Like, you do that, you kind of exhaust that, and then you move on. And you talk about social issues, you talk about other issues, internal work issues, drama, entertainment, whatever. And then you've done that for another fucking 15 years, and it's like, all right, I mean, I can keep doing this forever. Guys like him, and I think myself to an extent, you can do this like standing on your head, where it's just like, I can just talk. As long as people continue to find me entertaining, we can do this. But if now he's got something like The Case, or you have you start to work on like documentary type stuff or scripted sort of shit, it's kind of a different challenge. But I don't know. I can't answer for him on that front. I know I would. We've talked about it a million times before. Even if it was something not daily or weekly, something more spread out. But even still, it's hard to coordinate when you're in two different places. But anytime we can get in the same place, I'm down to make some magic with him. But I don't know. That's what are the Minifans gonna do? I mean, what is that army of fucking losers gonna do when their god is gone?
It's gonna be the likes of which we've never seen, in the words of Putin.
Yeah. Thank you for the call, bro. I appreciate everyone who called in today, and shout out to everyone in the chat who are subscribers. We are doing the KFC Radio No Blade bet, which is Feidelberg and I have either had a beard or scruff on our face for at least the last decade. I have not been clean shaven, since I was like 27 when I started to get a fat face, because once you hit like your late 20s, 30s, you realize you have a fat face, and the only thing that covers it up well is some scruff. So we're doing a subscriber bet. Basically, I have the first week of March. He has the second. I have the third. He has the fourth. And whoever can garner the most subscribers for YouTube during those times is the winner, and the loser has to shave their face. So what I ask you is, if you watched today, if you watch any of the KFC Radio videos, any of our interviews, any of our shorts, please subscribe. If you're a YouTube user, you get it. You know how to do it. If you're not, but you have a Gmail, you can also subscribe. So use the same exact login as your Gmail, and you can subscribe to the channel. I know a lot of people in my demo don't use YouTube. I myself don't curate like a whole channel, but once you do start to subscribe to a couple of different channels and you realize how much it feeds you similar content, your whole YouTube experience becomes a lot better. You find a lot of, like for me, I'm finding a lot of different comedy and a lot of different performers and podcasts. So give it a try. Help me out. Make sure I don't have a fat face and I can stay, somewhat not ugly. And then we get to see whatever's underneath Feidelberg's bush of a fucking beard. So subscribe to the KFC Radio channel and tell your friends to do the same thing. We'll put a link in the description or something. Can we do that, Nick? I don't know how that works. Yeah, link in the description to click it. Also, real quick, I wasn't reading it. I was looking at the camera. What was the final on the poll for the warm-up porn? It was like 63% people did warm-up porn? No, they don't. Okay. So, rest assured, people, normal. Nobody does warm-up porn. I shouldn't say normal. Nobody. It's like a 60-40 split is pretty concerning. But, all right, shout out to you guys. We'll be doing this every week now. So Wednesday mornings, if you still want to just listen to the podcast as regular, we'll still be putting it out on demand. But Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, we'll be here every week. We'll see you next time, you mutts.
Do you know how ugly John's going to be underneath that beard? We don't even know what's under there. Like, I've got some scruff, and if I have to shave, you're going to see that I have a double chin. We don't even know what's going on underneath that fucking fiasco on his face. So do the right thing. Subscribe now. Ignore his calls for help next week, and make sure that I win this bet so we can see his ugly mug at the end of March.